Sister has a question. That is the verse in the Quran, Surah Nisa, she is referring to verse number 34. That the Quran says that first admonish her, then don't share the bed, then beat her lightly. Though she agrees, she knows the background. That Islamic Sharia, there's a disagreement, you have to admonish her, don't share the bed. Beat lightly means the Prophet said that you should not beat on the face, there should not be any mark. Somewhat similar to beating with a miswak. She says that yet she doesn't agree. How can somebody have the right to beat me? Is the question. Sister, I'm asking a simple question. Suppose if you have a son, and you live in a 9-story building, and your son wants to jump from the 9-story building. He wants to jump, and he wants to argue with you. What will you do? If you tell him don't jump, yet he wants to jump, what will you do? Sister, what will you do?
I will hit him.
Why?
Probably.
What right do you have?
Understood, fine.
Understood,
But then, okay,
yes,
alright, understood. But then let me ask you a question. What if my husband...
Let me complete the answer.
Okay, sorry.
It was a rhetoric question from me.
Okay.
So you can't say no one has the right to beat. No one has the right to beat unnecessary, without reason, without this. You can put conditions. No one right to beat means, suppose someone is there, he is coming and robbing in my house. I have a right to stop him. If someone comes and wants to molest my sister or my wife, I will not keep quiet. I am not wearing bangles in my hand. But unnecessary, yes, I agree. Similarly, the husband, on a general thing, doesn't have a right to beat the wife at all. So here it says that if she breaks, or if she disobeys or breaks Sharia, there are various rules and regulations, then even that time you don't beat her, first admonish her, say it is wrong. Like you won't beat your son who wants to jump. What will your son? Don't jump. You won't give a slap. If you give a slap, I said, "Arey, come अच्छे से तो बोलो भाई, बेचारा उसको क्या पता वो जंप मारेगा तो मरेगा." At least talk. He's over there if he's 5 years old, 10 years old. Tell him, beta, don't jump. Don't hit him. So here first you admonish. Then don't share the bed. That means you're serious now. So you tell your son, don't jump, huh? I'll let you. Warning. Warning order it is, I won't give you food. And then as last resort, you may even have to hit him. Or may have to tie his hand. Why? Because you love your son. Not that you hate your son. So similarly here, Allah has given permission as a last resort. Beat lightly, the Arabic word is zaraba. Beat lightly means ultimatum. This beating is not for hurting the wife physically. If it was hurting the wife physically, I said, barabar se khoob marna. Hit properly so that there are 10-20 marks and blood comes out. So here we realize from the Quran, beat lightly means there's a final warning, ultimatum. And the hadith says, with miswak. Today you say like, maybe with a hanky. Hanky. Not tying or not and giving tichki, you know. In the school we used to give. That also hurts. With a hanky. That means finish. There's ultimatum. That means they're giving ultimatum warning. And then the Quran says if there's dispute, then have a consultation and then break, you know, the various things what the Quran says. So here we analyze, sister, the reason they have given is because in the society, in the family, as far as the family affairs is concerned, the leader is the man. So here it's given ultimatum warning. That doesn't mean that husband is always right. Please don't misunderstand. He is the leader because he is a qawam. Just before that, Allah says in Surah Nisa chapter 4, 34, Ar-rijalu qawwamun al-nisa. That the man is the qawam of the woman. Many people say, man is superior. Qawam doesn't mean superior. Qawam comes from the word iqama, means to stand up for. How we have iqama before salah? To stand up for salah. So here the Quran says the man has one additional responsibility. That means he has to stand up for the woman, look after the woman. Doesn't mean boss over the woman. And the reason is given because Allah has given one more strength than the other. You have to agree physical strength the man has got more than the woman. In general terms. That's the reason as an ultimatum of giving a warning. But that doesn't mean the husband is always right. Husband can be wrong. So that will come to know maybe through a meeting of other people or in the akhirah at least. So that doesn't mean Allah has said the husband is always right. Husband can use that as a last ultimatum, whether right or wrong. He cannot physically torture her. If he doesn't like her, he can't torture her, he should leave her, give talaq. In most of the other religions, there's no system of talaq. There's no system of divorce. Islam is one of the few religions which has shown the way. Maybe both husband and wife are good. You part, you can't keep on torturing her. In other religions, the husband comes home, he drinks alcohol, eats her every day. Kuch bhi bolo, wo mera Parameshwar hai. He's my God. In Islam, it's not like that. The husband may be right, the wife may be right, anyone may be right. So here this is the ultimatum warning before they part away. So that's the reason Allah has permitted to beat the wife lightly. That doesn't mean husband is superior. It doesn't mean husband is always right. He may be right, he may be wrong. So these will be discussed on a different level altogether. You can go to court of law, you can go to a qazi, you can pull the husband in the court of law, you can. So this is a permission given. That means this is ultimatum warning. Either you part or whatever it is, as a last resort, sister. Hope that answers the question, sister. If you have any counter argument, you're most welcome, sister.
What provisions do I have if my husband, I feel he is wrong? Now, what does the Quran say about that? How do I admonish him and etc., etc.? What do I do then?
There was a question asked to me earlier. Sister asked, what right does she have? How can she admonish? There was a question who asked that, can I beat my husband? I said, if Allah would have given that, then the husband would have bashed you up. Why? Because the man has more physical strength. So normally there may be some cases where the female may be stronger than the husband. Like we have female wrestlers and sportswomen. I'm not disagreeing with that. As a general rule, yes, you have other things to do. But if you say, I lightly admonish my husband, and if he retaliates, there will be a problem. So lene ke dene pad jayenge. Instead of solving the problem, there will be a bigger problem. Sister, you have every right. You can object to your husband. When you object, you should see to it that he is doing something un-Islamic. If there's difference of opinion, he says that put blue cover or paint the house blue, you say white. Difference of opinion. You can either paint blue or paint white. Solve it out. At that time, if he is the Amir, he is the leader, you have to believe. Not the leader is always right. But if he says something which is haram, he said, don't wear hijab. You say, no, I'm going to wear hijab. He said, no, I'm your husband. So husband can't go against the Sharia, can't go against Allah, can't go against Allah's Rasul. It's very clear cut. But if he's going against any law of the Sharia or law of Allah and the Rasul and you object, you should object. Why? Allah says in Surah Nisa chapter 4 verse 135 that Ya alladhina amanu, oh you believe, stand out for justice and witness to the truth of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even if it be against yourself. Against your parents, against your relatives. Husband is not mentioned there. Husband comes in relatives. Even if it be against yourself. Against your parents, against your relatives, whether they're rich or poor, Allah protects all. For Allah says you can go against even your parents, against your husband. But otherwise, difference of opinion, he is the Amir. But you have something which is right. And difference of opinion comes, you can object. And if he does and he breaks the Sharia, and he's really troubling you, torturing you, what right you have? You can go to a Qazi, sister. The first option is that you can request, if it's mentioned in the Nikah Nama. I'm talking about the ultimatum, last resort. Their best is speak to him, get a family. Like first have a meeting between husband and wife, the Quran says. Then get elders from both the families. Let's say I'm trying to explain to him this is wrong and whatever it is. As a last resort, if it's mentioned on Nikah Nama in your marital contract that you too can give a divorce known as Isma or Talaq-e-Tawfiq, then you can also give divorce. If it's not mentioned, you can request for a divorce that see, we aren't on good terms, I request you, leave me. It's called as Khula. He's saying, no, I don't want to leave you. Last resort, go to a Qazi and do Nikah first. Go to a judge, Islamic judge, say this is a problem, is un-Islamic, etc., etc. I want to part, and the Qazi, if he agrees with all the proofs that I've given, he can do Nikah first, that means dissolution of the marriage. Nullification of the marriage. So you have all these things, sister. Hope that answers the question.